Hey everyone, welcome to r/talesfromtechsupport, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. Your application's font is unprofessional. Years ago, I worked at a small consulting firm / software developer that worked primarily with local government offices. Working with local government is interesting. Let's just say that they have more than the normal share of people who wind up in positions they're not fully qualified for. One such individual was the head of IT support for one of our customers' office. This gentleman, we'll call him Hank, was very sure of his expertise in all things computer. Those of us who had to deal with Hank, however, were skeptical. We met with Hank and the other members of this particular customer administration once a month to discuss our software implementation. It wasn't what I'd call a flawless rollout, but despite a rocky start, things had started to smooth out. The majority of staff at the government office had transitioned to the new app, and we had worked out the kinks of most of the workflows. Or so we thought. Hank was apparently not happy with our software. Rather than submit his concern as tickets to our help desk, which I ran, he decided the appropriate way to handle this was to ambush me with a laundry list of complaints at our monthly meeting, in front of my boss, and in front of his boss. In the middle of the meeting, he stood up, pulled out a stack of papers, and read complaint after complaint to the room. All complaints were from him, rather than actual end users, many of which had already been addressed, but he saved the best for last. His final complaint was that he was looking at the data extract our software generated to comply with the state reporting requirement, and that the font the application uses looks extremely unprofessional. After pointing out that this was literally the first time we were hearing all of the unaddressed issues, since he had never reported them to our help desk per the established policy, I expressed confusion over the last complaint, since the data extract just generates a CSV file. We don't have a specific viewer bundled with our apps, so that particular report doesn't get any fonts from us. I asked for a screenshot, and Hank agreed to send it once he got back to his office. Sure enough, he sent a screenshot, showing the contents of the report displayed in good old Comic Sans font, opened in Notepad, in a screenshot that included his Windows desktop, where all the icons also had their names in Comic Sans font. Turns out, Hank had taken advantage of the Windows theme feature, selected a theme that used Comic Sans as the default font for all Windows applications, and then accused us of using an unprofessional font. Sounds like Hank needs to stop playing around in his Windows settings. Also, someone there needs to put their foot down and make Hank follow the procedures and protocols in place. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you mean the database deleted itself? Hello everyone, brand new account because in real life people discovered my old username, but alas, here we are. This happened just after the new year as everyone was coming back from vacation. It was a very busy time as projects were being put in again after a slow December. All the background needed is that I am a software / database analyst for my company, and I typically help our customers when their stuff breaks. Me equals me, CC equals concerned customer, IB equals IT pro, the only person at this company who has more than 3 brain cells. So this is almost verbatim how the conversation went. Me, good afternoon. I have an email from you for my company to CC, on the verge of tears from the sound of her voice. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for calling me back. Our database deleted itself. Our entire inventory is gone. Me, well ma'am, please don't take this the wrong way, but databases don't just delete themselves. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for what's going on. Can you tell me? CC, no, you don't understand. It's gone. I've checked our backup folder and there's no database backup, but I do one every night. Me, that's certainly odd. Let's get me remoted in and take a look. After getting in the Windows 10 computer, I look at the SQL server data and backup folder, and sure enough, nothing's there. I also go to check the My Company directory and program files, x86, and the program is there and seems to have all the required files, but the settings.xml file is showing 0 KB. Me, ma'am, are you sure this was the app server PC and not a client? I see the program installed in the settings.xml, which looks like it's been corrupted, and there is SQL in here, but it looks like it has no information in CC, full-on hysterical switch engaged. Yes, I'm sure, and I'm the department manager, and I have used this computer for the last 8 years every day. I personally back up the computer every night, and I'm telling you the database deleted itself. The Dark Lords of Computing have ravaged what was once a hollow place and have turned my plentiful fruits of data barren. Okay, so she didn't say that last sentence, but she might as well have. Me. Okay, well I just needed to ask because, again, databases don't just delete themselves. When was the last time you had used the program? Did anything happen that stood out as weird or related? CC. I've been gone for 2 weeks on vacation. I got back today and my third shift person had told me there was a power outage, and when the power came on, the program wouldn't open. And then I looked and it was deleted. Me. Well, do you have any client computers who were connected to this PC which ran the software? CC. Why would that even matter? The database is gone. Me. Please, just humor me. As it turns out, there were 3 client computers. I connected to all 3, and the first 2 had corrupted settings.xml files, which makes sense if they were being written to as the power outage hit. The third one was still intact, thankfully, so I opened it in Notepad and looked through it. And what do you know? Me. Man, this client PC tells me your app server is the original PC we were connected to, but not the database server. The database server appears to be obvious SQL database hostname. CC. That's not even a computer I manage, and I would know. I don't give anyone permission to change anything. You obviously are reading something wrong. Me. Man, do you have local IT on site? Can you conference someone in with us? So after like 5 minutes of rebuilding settings.xml files, 20 minutes of waiting, and a few games on Flashpoint, IB hops on the call. IB. Hey, SQL stole my dog. I heard you had some questions for me? Me. Yeah, hey man. Looks like something's happened to the locally stored database for the My Company program, and CC really needs it back and running. Do you by chance know if there were any changes made in the last week or so? IB. Oh yeah, we had a 10 gigabyte database on the original PC, which I saw was being manually backed up. So I moved it to an SQL server and created a task to automatically back it up and move it to a networked shared drive. Is that okay? Me. Actually, yes. CC. How dare you mess with my database without asking me? I'm the direct manager for this department and I should have been told about any changes you made. You need to put my database back immediately. Me. Actually, CC, IB did you a pretty big solid, it looks like. He saw a blatant single point of failure. The Windows 10 PC that was only being manually backed up by you, and to the same drive as the original database nonetheless, and not only moved it to a dedicated server, but got you reoccurring automatic backups in a network location at the same time. You should be buying this guy lunch for going above and beyond. CC. I don't. Me. And not to be rude, but honestly, if you're going to back up anything, why would you back it up to the same drive as the original data source? If the drive fails, your backup is also gone. CC. What do you mean? If the drive fails, the backup can be recovered. Me. And where would the backup be recovered from? CC. The failed drive, obviously. Me. And if the drive is not recoverable? CC. That's what the backup's for. At this point, I decided to just finish the call and thank IB again for being proactive. Honestly, the fact that this lady for 8 years was manually backing up her database every night in and of itself was astounding to me. But by the end of the call, I was too dumbfounded to continue trying to educate somebody that wouldn't get out of their own way. Too long didn't read. Lady's confused when program won't open. Looks into the problem and assumes her data is gone, which in all fairness it was. Freaks out and almost goes off the deep end. Turns out data was being backed up and managed properly, and the original issue was unrelated. Edit. To anyone in the comments saying that IB should have informed the manager or followed some sort of change policy where the change was documented and disseminated to the other users. Absolutely, you are 100% correct. I didn't get too far into it with him, but I would have to assume someone in the IT management team had to know as he got a full-blown SQL server up and running, but CC should have at least gotten an email. Yeah, I can understand people saying that. You gotta keep everybody in the loop. I get that. But at the same time, if nothing was running right from the start, then it really doesn't much matter. It needed something like this to kind of kick off changes, hopefully, that they'll be making. Somebody to trigger something like this lady's panic so that hopefully better changes can be implemented and hopefully avoid any data loss. By the way, during that last story, I'm sure you heard all the beeping and motors revving and things outside. Once the construction stopped on the fish market next door, somebody decided they were going to start working on the restaurant on the other side of me. So, again, you probably won't hear the noise, but if you do, that's what it is. You did what over plain text? I was the IT director for a medium manufacturing company. However, the owner fancied himself very skilled in the computers. I was doing random work when I found myself browsing the company website. Not something I do very often. When I'm immediately confused. Our website is nice. It's very modern and updated. Not like it was the last time I checked. The confusing part? I wasn't aware of a website update or change. Checking out the website, I first noticed it was HTTP. Gross. But honestly, we have an address and some pictures on our website, so who cares? Did I mention it was upgraded? Turns out we now accept orders on our website for some of our more unique products. Very fast and easy. Put in your address, what you want, and your credit card data in our nice new fancy HTTP website. Never jumped out of my seat faster, mind racing with all the lawsuits about to hit our desk. Thank God we provided crap products, and almost no one ordered from us. Add-on. Yes, the owner had organized the update with a company that really should have known better. And after multiple months of working on this, never once felt the need to advise his head of IT, because he understands computers and has it all under control. So correct me if I'm wrong down below. I'm assuming because HTTP was not secure enough to do online ordering? Is that what I'm getting out of this? I kind of missed something here. Git repository as server backup. Recently happened to a friend of mine. She had a gig on Fiverr for simple web development stuff, just some simple HTML, CSS, etc. One day she got a buyer request, I don't know what it's called on Fiverr, to help move a local Git repo to GitHub. That's all the information that came with the request. Yep. I feel like I'm recording in a war zone. It looked like a fairly simple task for a quick $10, so she accepted it. After chatting a little with the client, it was revealed that the repo size was over 15 gigabytes. And that's why he was having trouble moving it. And the repo wasn't a project. The poor fellow made a Git repo in the root server data. It had thousands of files, logs, system information, even some 3D models. For short, it was a one-stop shop. The client wasn't aware of the 100 megabyte limit of GitHub. After a bit of explaining to him that his task was literally impossible, the client told her to put all files over 5 megabytes into gitignore. So that's what she did. Now it was time to get rid of the previous commits that had the huge files. But there was only one single commit. Just one. She told him that she was going to reset the repo since it only has one commit. The dude agreed. Little did she know that this repo was the only copy of their server data. They had no backups, not even for a single file. So after a lovely git reset, hard origin main, they both were shocked. She kept asking where the backups were to complete the job, but backups were not known to this fella, till now. The poor dude lost much of his precious data, and my friend lost some stars on her profile. I still can't figure out who's at fault here. The guy who created the repo inside a system directory, shoved 15 gigs of data in it, and made no backups, or the dumbass that straight up ran that unholy git command. Well, I'd say a little bit of both. The guy wasn't educated enough to be doing any of this in the first place, but the lady moving the stuff over should have asked if it was backed up. But at the same time, what do you want for $10? Remember where you saved your file. So this happened years ago when I was a consultant in one of the computer labs at the local university. That's what all the student workers in the labs were called. It was finals week and I was working the shift in one of the specialized Macintosh computer labs. This was after Steve Jobs came back, and I believe the switch to Intel processors was pretty recent as we did have a few PPC machines still in the labs. Anyway, as it was finals week and we were pretty hopping with everyone trying to get their projects done, in comes end user in tears as she approaches the desk. End user: "Please, you've got to help me. I can't find my final paper. I know I saved it, but I just can't find it after I closed out of Word. I can't find it. Can you help me?" Me: "Sure, I'll take a look. If you could boot up the machine and log in for me." From there, I quickly go to her home directory and sort by last modified. Me: "When were you working on it?" End user: Yesterday about 9 p.m. I then highlighted the file and asked her to open it to confirm. Sure enough it was, and she was overjoyed that all her work was not lost. My boss, who was over all the Mac labs, told me she actually emailed her directly to thank me for my assistance. Some days I do miss Liv's lab days, even if it's just to be able to actually assist someone directly like that. Well, that's nice that you were able to help and calm things down during finals. It's a bad feeling when you think you've lost something like that, especially when you're either getting paid or getting a grade. Story from my professor. A lot of the stories on here remind me of the story my professor told us when I was in school for IT. He was old school IT, been in the business for over 20 years at that point in 2010, so he was there from the beginning, still teaching too. He told us a story when he was still in college and 4 master's degree computer science techs were surrounding a unit trying to figure out why it wouldn't boot. When he offered to help, they scoffed at him, as if an undergraduate would know what to do when they didn't. Well, when they went to go boot it again, and there was still no response to the brand new motherboard, he knew exactly what it was. He picked up the PC, shook it a bit, and a screw fell out from behind the motherboard. He put it down, hit the power button, and it turned on. He said he loved the look of the 4 shocked faces as he turned around, shrugged, and left the area. For those of you that don't know, the screw was touching the motherboard, which was then touching the case, grounding out the electrical source to the motherboard, preventing it from booting. Were loose screws that really big of an issue back then? Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this content, would you do me a favor? Would you consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories? And if you really want to help, how about you share this video around to your friends, see if any of them like these kind of stories. See ya.